Yeah, no, I'll probably start off with like basic questions, easy ones, like where are you from, how long have you been in LA, who are you voting for in November, like just easy ones.
Hey Dylan, thanks for taking my call.
Hey Dylan, big fan of the show.
Huge fan of the show, love what you're doing.
Such a big fan of the show. I'm so glad to have a minute of your time.
Hi, Dylan. It's Robin.
Dude, Dylan.
Look, I cannot help you. I'm sorry. It's not hard to understand, okay? So here's my thought. You would be crazy to think that. Well, welcome to Hey Dylan. I'm your host, Dylan, and this is a very first time for the DBN. We are filming live in West Hollywood,
WeHo, baby.
California. WeHo, as it's called. I'm at my buddy Eric's house. Eric, how's it going? Your house, your apartment,
My house.
your home.
Yeah, man, this is my little humble abode.
Do you call this home?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I call it home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like where you call home is Atlanta, right?
Yeah,
That's where you're from.
yeah. From Atlanta, born in Denver.
How
I am in
how do you
WeHo,
go
man.
Atlanta or Denver to Atlanta? I feel like you've told me this stuff, but I'm probably just gonna ask it.
So my dad worked for Coors. Well, first he worked for Rubbermaid.
What do you do for Coors?
I don't know, marketing or, some shit. Can we curse?
Yeah,
We can curse.
if you'd like to. Curse. I
Curse.
say cuss.
Curse.
Can we cuss?
Yeah.
Curse sounds cooler though.
Yeah, like a curse word.
Yeah, like curse.
Yeah.
Curse feels like classy, like classic. Like cuss is like a kid on a playground. Cuss.
Yeah. I'm
But
gonna
if
cuss
you
you out.
curse, your grandpa says don't curse. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
It's classy. But yeah, you can. What did he do for Coors?
So yeah,
For curse.
my dad, he worked for Coors. No, he worked for Rubbermaid, marketing, and then Coors.
Yeah.
So that was like till I was like 4,
Okay.
and then he got a job at Coke,
Whoa.
and so that brought us to Atlanta.
Wow. Are they
When I was, like,
headquarters
5.
in Atlanta?
Coke?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Dang. So is what else is headquarters in Atlanta? Is Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A, I think.
Headquartered Atlanta.
Mercedes, I think.
Mercedes. That sounds right. They have the stadium, the Falcon Stadium. It's Mercedes-Benz. Or
Turner,
it was.
Turner
Oh.
Broadcasting's there.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Charles Barkley and Inside the NBA films there.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Dang, there's a lot of industry there.
Yeah, so I moved to Atlanta when I was 5. I was there till I was 24,
Nice.
and here I am.
Yeah.
Here
How old
I
are you
am.
now?
I'm 31. 31.
31.
Having
How old
fun.
How old do you feel though?
That's tough, man. How old do I feel?
Yeah. Cuz I think I'm 29. I think I still feel like 26. Like I still feel like I don't feel like I'm going to be 30 next year.
Well, I have a bad back.
Right.
So I feel like with that, I feel like 65.
Yeah.
But mentally, I don't know, 20s?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
But you've had back problems because of injury, not because of like you're getting old.
Yeah.
Like you've put yourself through it.
Yeah, so I was a gymnast for 17 years.
Sheesh.
Did
17 years. I don't think I've been anything for 17 years.
You've been alive.
I've
Been
been
alive
alive.
for
I guess
17
that
years.
you've got me there. 17 years. And yeah, how old were you when you started? Were you like that kid? Were you just like rolling around the living room a lot?
So yeah, I did soccer first.
Nice.
And then I was that kid like flipping around on the field. And then when I was like 12, it was like, all right, you got to pick. So I picked.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the age you got to pick. So I coach 12-year-olds, and it's like that's what I tell them. I'm like, guys, this is now the time where you really kind of really zero in, like, or like, do I want to be really good at this thing or not?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it just something I do on Mondays and Saturdays, or is it like something I could do every day at school? And yeah, you see kids fall off, or you see kids go hard.
Yeah.
And you went hard.
Yeah.
At being a gymnast, was there a big like gymnast program at your schools, or were you doing like?
Yeah, so it was not associated with my school. It was like a club. And it was tough, man. It was intense. It was, 5 days a week, sometimes 6, 5 hours a day. Yeah, it was a lot.
It's like is it one of those like torturous training? I mean, you've talked about like sports and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, aside like it definitely destroys your body.
Right.
And I'm feeling that now.
That's crazy. Is that common though for people who are gymnasts until their 20s to be like, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like I ruptured my Achilles, I did my knee, my elbow.
Jeez.
Broken bones.
What was the most painful? The Achilles, probably, right?
I've
heard Achilles is the worst.
Probably not though, because I went into shock.
Yeah.
Pass
out.
But yeah, man, tough sport. Wouldn't recommend it.
Dang. So yeah, if you ever had a kid, and they're like, I want to be a gymnast.
Honestly, I would feel better because I could kind of watch and know what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm just now like getting to realize like the stuff I went through and how intense it was, and I'm very like in my head and routine like every day, so just trying to figure that out.
But that's like the good thing about sports or whatever is like you learn a discipline. And like, I mean, having a routine in sports than now as an adult, like you're probably better at routines or creating routines because in sports, you're taught routines. It's like they say the same thing about like that's why you should play board games with kids so they can learn rules and consequence and risk and like all these like different things that actually portray to what they'll need in life. And I don't know, like that's always the best part of sports, I guess, and the people you meet.
For sure. I think more good came out of, being an elite level athlete.
An elite level athlete.
What
does
athlete.
That mean?
It means, you're on the road to potentially go to the Olympics.
Yeah. You were on that path. Well, because you were probably putting in how many hours a week?
I was doing, what did I say, 5? I don't know, at least 20. Yeah, dude.
Wow. That's intense.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so what age did you stop doing it? And you stopped because of an injury?
Yeah, so I stopped 22, I think. But, yeah, so I was I kind of ruled out college. So, like, I visited Michigan and Stanford, and I visited all these schools and all my homies.
Did you have good grades?
I did have good grades, but I figured out how to be smart with the extra credit and doing all that. So I did like a few honors classes, but with my schedule, it was tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of ruled out doing college sports because I wanted to be with my buddies who were going to University of Georgia and doing fraternity, and
nice.
So I tried doing that, and then I was like, let's give the Olympics a shot.
Dang. So you give the Olympics a shot.
Yeah. So
how does it go?
Yeah. So and then
how many years does that take? Like went from deciding I want to do it.
It's your whole life.
It's your whole life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're honing in as you get closer, everything is scheduled out. It's all about peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
I also coached too
nice.
while I was doing it, so I get the
coaching's fun.
Yeah.
Would you ever do it now, or is it hard to be around?
Coach?
Well, like, yeah. Would you ever coach again?
No, I would not.
Really?
I would not.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Okay, so when you're done being a gymnast, then we know each other because we work together in television, and internet and entertainment news. How did you get there? Because, I mean, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, how do you get to, I want to do television stuff next. I remember you told me this story. I do remember this.
So whenever I would watch the Olympics as a kid, I was always fascinated with the commentators. And then at the same time, when I would get home from work every day, my mom would be watching E! News. And so then that's how I kind of discovered Ryan Seacrest. And I was like, that's cool.
Seacrest is awesome, yeah.
Seacrest out.
Seacrest out. He's still going strong, dude.
Yeah. But at the time, I didn't know when you're a little kid, you're like, that's cool. But I didn't know, that was the path I wanted to go down.
Yeah.
And then really I would say it was my uncle. My uncle is a cameraman. I won't say what shows, but he's big time, I would say. He's got a couple Emmys.
Nice. Emmy drop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so they luckily and thankfully hooked me up with an internship.
Nice.
In New York City with ABC.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
so I was doing like The View live with, I think it was Kelly and Michael at that point.
Okay. Dang.
Good Morning America. And then, it kind of just trickled from there. I did Watch What Happens Live.
That's crazy. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like most of the big New York shows. That's pretty sweet. Where were you living when you were in New York?
I was living with my aunt and uncle.
Okay.
West Village,
Nice.
East Village, West Village.
Did you like New York City?
I did like it. My brother lived there for like 14 years.
Yeah.
I love it. And I always thought that was where I was going to end up.
Yeah.
And then I came out here for a competition like when I was 20, and I was like, dude, the West Coast.
Yeah.
Um
It's calling.
mhm.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know how I got there too, but I was kind of the similar way that New York,
cuz you lived in New York.
I was in Connecticut, but I was like a 45-minute train ride to the city. It was a commuter town. And I really tried to make it work because I was working at a church, and then I was like, I want to work in production and television. That's like really the side of church I loved doing. And so I one day realized, maybe it's not the church that I want to be doing, but it's the put on an event every day or every weekend that people can interact with, whatever. And so from the church, I tried a bunch of connections. One guy very graciously took me to NBC Sports in Stamford, Connecticut, and he was an audio mixer, and he was doing like the pregame show, halftime show for NHL, and he took me into the Sunday Night Football studio there, and kind of walked me around and showed me what he did, because I didn't have any idea I just knew I wanted to be in television, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I look back at that. And I'm like, man, that is such a tough place to be, because all those people were trying to help me. They were like, well, what do you want to do? And I would be like, I don't know. I just want to be like a PA, or I just want to help.
Which you should never. I've been taught you never say I don't know.
Yeah, and
but it's hard.
And some people were telling me, they're like, you have to like say I want to do audio. I want to do. But the truth is I didn't know. And even when I moved to LA finally after a couple years, because it wasn't working out in New York and all my connections weren't leading to jobs, so I was like, I have a handful out in LA. I can roll the dice there. I can be in Arizona if I need to. It's super easy. And I was committed to like being a PA, being someone that can be around a bunch of different departments and see like, oh man, how could I get in with whoever I interact with?
Soak it all up.
Yeah. And so I realized at the time me not being specific was not helpful. And that is, good advice is be as specific as you can be. But honestly, if you don't know, it's true. You just got to get in certain rooms and see how you can help. And like, I've never had any problem, like throwing my ego out the door and doing some crazy things for producers or for production staff.
You have to have no ego.
You can't. And my friend, a good friend who I grew up with, she told me that I need to read "Ego Is the Enemy" by Ryan Holiday, like before getting into the industry. And she gave it to me like 1 year after I'd been here, and I wish I had read it before, because I was, It really helps you like put things aside and just focus on your work. Anything else that's a distraction, complaining, just like, no, you need to be grateful, because that'll help you focus on your work, because the only thing that's going to help you get better is focus on your work. So anything else, ego being a huge one, being humble in the industry, like honestly, it makes me, like when I see PAs and stuff, I'm very much like pro them, because I was them.
For sure.
Tour guides as well. Like I'm like, dude, come on. And I also feel like I earned it, because I was like, I did start at the bottom and I am where I am now. But yeah, so I came out here because I don't know. Yeah, something wasn't working in New York, and I rolled the dice in L.A. and it worked out.
But you also got a head start too, right? Because you didn't go to school, so you kind of started earlier, which I think is so fucking awesome that you did that.
Well, and that was funny is I would get a lot of great meetings with people, and I would ask them like, hey, because I was thinking about doing online school when I made the switch to television. I was like, that I want to be on TV movies. And I was like, oh, maybe I need a film degree. Like, that's going to be the only way. And so I was trying to figure it out. Every person I asked, I was like, hey, what, should I be a communications major? Should I be a digital media? And they're like, don't go to school. Go work. And I was like, dang. They're like, that's going to be a waste of your time. You're going to spend 4 years doing that in a lot of debt, and you'll be 4 years behind in work. And then when you get here, you hear a bunch of people who are in debt from going to film school. And I wasn't. But it was because I started early. So that's big. And I really I feel like I reached out to like 50 people, and only one girl helped me, and that girl got me in somewhere where then I met someone else.
That's how it is, though.
That's how it is. I've only gotten one job because it was online. Like, I did an online application. That honestly never happens. It's you meet someone at a party or you meet someone on set, and they take you to the next thing.
Yeah, it's like what you hear about happening.
Yeah.
That you don't think's going to happen, but...
Yeah, and I remember people telling me networking is everything, and I was just like, that is just... I feel like they're just saying that to me.
It is, though.
But it is.
It is.
It is. And, putting yourself, getting out... for me, a big thing is, dude, stop playing video games. Go hang out with people. Because when you put yourself out there and you meet new people, you meet new opportunities. Whoa, that's good.
I thought what you said... it's not what you do. What'd you say? Like, you're 9 to 5, but you're 5 to 9.
Yes, that's what we're doing right now,
dude. Genius.
Yeah,
genius.
And that came because I met with a writer for a TNT show. It was one of the big TNT shows. I think it was a military show. Or maybe it was TNT, maybe it was USA, but it was one of those intense shows. And I remember what he said to me. He's like, well, what do you want to do? And then I was like, I don't know. I just want to be a PA. He's like, okay, you want to be a PA, but what do you want to do? Eventually. And I was like, I don't know, maybe write or direct or act and I was literally just saying things that I thought I knew. He's like, well, okay, let's see, writer. He's like, well, do you write? And I'm like, I haven't started yet. He's like, then you're not a writer. And I think about that now, where it's like, yeah, at my 9 to 5, I'm a producer, but am I a producer all the time? And is it the thing? Because I moved out here to try to make something of myself and start a career in entertainment and stuff, and I've landed on producer and I love it. And I'm like, man, how could I produce more and do things I like? Because we're at work, we work for someone else who's it's their thing that they talk about, and we're adding to their stories. And I'm like, well, what's mine? I love talking to movies. I love talking sports. I love talking to my favorite people. And it's like, all right, well, let's just try that. There's so many people who've done that, and it's worked out. And even if it and it hasn't been something I've ever shared, because it's not at a perfect place where I'm like, oh man, I'm proud of this and I want to put it out. I've said that before, but then I got to get past that and be like, dude, well then get there. Do it more and make it sharper every time and spend time editing. Don't just pump it out, which I usually will do.
Yeah. I will say it's beneficial to know how to do it all. Yeah. And that's hard because there's a lot to do.
Yeah. But it is a lot to do. And I think it's that I heard someone else talk about it. I think they were talking about music producing, but it was when you just you know how when you think about working out, you're like, oh, well then I got to go change, and then I'm going to have to shower. And then you list off all the problems, and then it's suddenly this huge bag of weight that you're like, you know what, I can't do it. I'm just going to watch a show tonight. Or, that's the thing. But the thing is getting all of it set up and learning each bit of it makes you appreciate it more, makes it a better product. And it's if I want to be a director or a producer one day, I'd like to be able to speak to an audio person and be like, I know exactly what to say to them because I've worked on audio and I know what it, or a camera person and be like, hey, I need to be able to speak those languages if I'm going to be a good producer. And so doing it on my own, you have to learn.
You're learning. And going back to New York, would you say doing entertainment here, working in entertainment, is easier in LA than it is in New York? Just given like the lifestyle, the landscape of the city.
I actually think I would
cost.
I think, well, so I'd never paid rent in New York, and I had a really amazing living situation in Connecticut. I never paid rent in New York, but I always imagine, like, man, if I didn't have a car and I didn't have to Uber everywhere and I could train everywhere, how much money would I be saving? I think about that, and, like, because what I love about both cities, Atlanta might be this way too, is people work really, really hard, and they, like, bust their ass at work. But then after, they bust their ass partying too. And like they, whether it's going to eat great food or, spending late nights, whatever, doing crazy, going on boats. It's like a place where but you got to be able to pay for both. And it's hard to be broke in both cities. But yeah, my buddy said it's either for New York is either for the young or the rich.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get there and grind again. I wouldn't. It'd be for me to move to New York, and I would love to move to New York one day. Would be like to have a great job there where I'm settled. But I mean, I'm not really pursuing that. So. Yeah.
All right.
But what do you think? What do you think? Because you did do that. You did both.
I mean,
you now have to commute in traffic, which everyone always says LA is the traffic city. But I live right next to work. I never have to deal with traffic. I have to come to you to get traffic.
I think New York is tough, especially like if you have anxiety, seasonal depression.
Yeah, seasonal depression.
You don't see the sun because the buildings are so tall, and then like
or the weather too.
The weather, being a PA in New York, and you're running around, running all these errands, picking up stuff. You don't have a car you can throw all the shit in.
Yeah, true.
I think LA just makes it easier, but I think LA it's harder to meet people and network.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I was going to ask you about is that you actually do a good job of that. And I'll get back to the New York thing because I actually was a personal assistant in New York City. And so I did do the cab thing and I had to go buy, gifts. And it was around Christmas time too. So I was doing all the holiday setup and whatever, which led to me having a Christmas party right outside the Rockefeller tree. Unreal,
Dope.
like life moment. But you do something interesting and we're in West Hollywood. The WeHo Run Club. Is that what it's called? WeHo Run Club. This is... Have you ever seen Yes Man with Jim Carrey? Okay, so in Yes Man, it's a great movie, and it's actually probably relatable to something we just talked about, where it's like Liar Liar. You ever seen Liar Liar? Where he can't say no. He's a yes man. So if someone says, hey, do you want to help me move? Yes. Hey, do you want to come to the bar for drinks? Yes. And he keeps saying yes. And he joins a running camera club where, it's a jogging club and we take photos while we run. And I remember seeing that just being like, that's just a goofy thing they added. Yeah. Then you get to LA and you realize there are clubs for almost anything.
Yeah, dude.
And you can meet people and there are some specific clubs, but you do a good job of that here. You're in WeHo Run Club. What is that like?
Yeah, so that was very tough for me because I have a hard time sometimes pushing myself to do things like that. But I think I was like 6 months post back surgery, and I was like, I wish there was a run club in in LA, because I had moved back to Atlanta for 2 years because I lost my job because of COVID. So when I moved back, I was like, I wish there was a West Hollywood Run Club. And yeah, it was my first attempt to run after surgery. And I was like, I'm just going to run.
You've told me you can't golf, you can't play pickleball. You hike a lot, but like running is a thing that's okay for your back. Swimming's probably great for
doing
you.
This is the worst.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
sitting?
Sitting's the worst, but
dang.
So yeah, it was
done
like
a standing episode. We'll do a standing episode next time.
Yeah, or a run.
A run, dude. I actually do have mobile mics. That'd be crazy.
There you go.
I haven't tried them out yet.
So yeah, I was out here Santa Monica Boulevard, and I was like, I'm gonna turn on a song, and I'm gonna see if I can run a song, and then I'm like 30 seconds in. and I see Hannah. Shout out to Hannah. She just ran a marathon, her first marathon.
Dang. Good time?
Yeah, it was great.
Shout out, Hannah. Hannah, shout out.
It was great. And so this girl's running towards me with a neon green flyer, and it was WeHo West Hollywood Run Club.
Whoa. Dang.
Yeah.
And I think Venice Run Club is like the biggest one in LA, maybe. It's the one I'd heard about it before, and it is like hundreds and if you look it up on social media, hundreds and hundreds of people just running through the streets of Venice, and like it is the most social. I hate running, and I think running and being social sounds like an actual nightmare.
Yeah, so I'm not a runner either, but I will say what I like about West Hollywood Run Club. It's more intimate. You can decide, like, if you want to talk to people, if you want to socialize. People walk, people jog, people run fast. But it's been great, dude.
Yeah, it's honestly probably a safer way to jog in LA too, with a group of people, because if you get hurt or something crazy happens. But it has been a good way to meet people too. And a consistent way to jump in.
It's what you make of it. I will say, for anyone who's thinking about moving to a big city like here or New York, looking for those clubs, even if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't pan out the way you hope it does, I would recommend it.
100%. I found a group of guys who played basketball, and I was living in Glendale, but they played basketball at 8 p.m., sometimes 9 p.m. in Santa Monica. Well, no. Actually, now knowing it now, it is essentially like close to where I live. Like if they still played there now, I would be really close to it. Mm-hmm. But we went there, but I made it a thing where I'm like, dude, I have to go, because then I can interact with other dudes who, one, they might be in the industry, but also, you just get to play basketball with guys like, most people who live here are transplants, and all their best friends live either back home or somewhere else. And we kind of all have that in common, unless you moved here with people, which some people did.
Yeah, and you got nothing to lose. There's someone, and you never know who you're going to meet. There's someone in the run club who is an A-list celebrities manager.
That's so funny.
And it's just like you just never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to run with. But yeah. Yeah,
dude. I remember I went to, I think I've said it maybe before, but I went to a bunco night. Bunco, which is a game my mom used to play with the other ladies in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I went to a bunco night, and I put myself out there, and I went, and I met a girl who, she's like, yeah, I work at TMZ. And I was like, whoa, I applied there months ago. Never heard anything. She's like, what? I'll nudge them on Monday. And I got an email on Tuesday, and I got an interview, and they called me back that same day. Mm-hmm. And it was like, because I went to bunco. Like, it wasn't, I don't know, man. It's nutty. But also, you could just meet interesting people too. That's like, guess who, my godfather is. That's just random example. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I would say first impression is a lot.
Yeah. You can't overthink it.
But yeah, and that's something I struggle with.
Yeah. Overthinking or first impressions?
Both.
Oh. Well, I met you on Tanner's birthday. I was gonna say on Tanner's boat, but on Tanner's boat birthday, that is where we met. And but before that, we had worked. You were like one of the close people I sat next to, and we just never interacted. And that's another part about like, even where you work, like, putting yourself out there, being like, hey, you wanna go get drinks or whatever, go on a hike was a easy one. Come to my birthday is a great one.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I'm very hesitant when it comes to work people.
True.
Just because of past experiences and stuff that you hear about that happens.
I think it's good to have. Yeah, you need other stuff other than your work that is your life. Mm-hmm. That even like these people don't know these people who don't know these people, because I have all these different groups. I think that's very important.
Yeah, and I think blending the two is a risk. Sometimes it can bite you in the ass. But, look at us.
Hey, look at us.
Two twisted teas.
Twisted teas. Maybe. They're not a sponsor yet. So maybe we'll bleep that. It is nice though, right? Like this was a good choice. Or were you a little
It's
hesitant?
delicious.
Were you hesitant because you were like this over?
Well,
beer?
yeah, it was this or beer, and I don't know. It's good, man.
But you were.
It's a good refresher.
Have you had it before?
I've had twisted tea. I've not had the half and half.
Oh well,
But
yeah. The half and half's
my
nice.
brother got me on the twisted tea.
The lemon's nice as well, and if you can pour it over ice, that's great. Drinking it out of the can's fine, but if you can pour it over ice, you can have a good time. So yeah, that's cool though. The WeHo Run Club. One other thing that LA I feel like has that New York doesn't, and you take advantage of it, but also because West Hollywood has a lot of it, is hiking. I feel like at least once a weekend you go, more than likely twice. What is that like? Like what is that for you? What is hiking? It's obviously it's some physical activity you can do too.
Dude, I don't know what it is. To be honest, like I just love it. I think it's all the above. I always go to Runyon. And people shit on Runyon.
Yeah. I think I told you that I don't have a selfie stick, so I can't come to Runyon.
Dude.
Which is because influencers are there.
Yeah. So basically, if you have not been to Runyon, it's very central to seeing.
It's easy.
It's easy, and when you get to the top, you can see a whole view of the city. You can see the beach. But yeah, sometimes I'll just look at the Hollywood sign and I'll just check in and be like, I'm like, you got me? Because you really shat on me this week.
Yeah. Damn.
So yeah, it's just like, it's a way to escape. It's a way to reflect.
Yeah.
But it's not for everyone.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's done a lot for me. I will say walking, running, being outside is very beneficial.
Yeah.
For me, especially.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Because, like, I mean, I don't think, and maybe it's because maybe my friends back home or whatever, like, I feel like I don't hear that in other cities. Probably, you don't feel it in New York. Maybe because you're inside.
I feel like Arizona's known for hiking, though, too.
It is. Like, there are a lot of golf courses. There are a lot of outdoor activities. But I guess the need to go outside, the need to be like, dude, if you don't go outside this week, go on a walk, go hit a hike, like, you need it. It's going to help you. It's going to boost your mood.
For sure.
Get you on your feet and you're not sitting around.
For sure.
Because it's just like, it's easy to get cozy and just sit inside, which we've talked about.
Yeah, I think I felt so cooped up as a kid.
Yeah.
Always in a gym. It was, cold, chalky, whatever. And so I think, when I moved here, I was like, I want to be outside.
Yeah.
That was a huge motivating factor of me moving here was this weather.
Was because like when people say they live in LA, like 80% of people who live in LA don't live by the beach. Like it's really far away. Was because we're in West Hollywood. I live by the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Took me a while to get here. It would take a while to get to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a priority for you because more hikes, more the lifestyle.
So pre-COVID, before I moved back to Atlanta, I was living in West Hollywood. I kind of lived everywhere, to be honest, but I don't know.
All around LA.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I lived kind of by you. I lived Baldwin Hills.
Baldwin Hills. Okay.
Which is close to work.
I've been there.
Miracle Mile.
Yeah.
And West Hollywood was just, I don't know, my favorite.
Yeah.
When I moved back, I thought about moving by the beach because of work. But it was like, do I want to live where I work?
Right.
Or,
have a separate church and state. Yeah, I mean West Hollywood is like the busiest part of town, where this is where like all the billboards are. This is where all the nightlife is. Great restaurants. It's very expensive over here, but it's very young. Lot of energy. Like this is where parades go through. This is where the tour goes through. This is like the heart of it all. But it's also like when you're here, you're kind of here. Like but everything you need is within a couple of miles.
You kind of feel like all the action's here. And
Yeah.
I will say, when people who don't live in LA and they're watching TV and, like I'm rewatching Entourage right now.
Yes.
And when a show or a movie stigmatizes Hollywood, it's really West Hollywood.
Yeah,
like Hollywood is further down.
Hollywood is
sketchier.
It's like it's where all the Walk of Fame is kind of what the Hollywood has. It's touristy.
Yeah.
This is where LA people live though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to kind of weed through all the influencer bullshit.
It's like Hollywood is like Midtown in Manhattan, like that's where shops are and tourists are, and all that stuff. But if you want LA young people who are trying to make it big or are Vinny Chase,
yeah.
Yep. You said that I sound like Vinny Chase one day. Is that still true?
Yeah.
And because now you're rewatching it, and also you rewatching it. What are you picking up on? I think they got Tanner and I talked about Entourage too.
What am I picking up on?
Because it's now like 15 years old, right? It was 2000.
Yeah, I think 2003 or 4 was season 1. It definitely has not aged well, for sure. Like a lot of the jokes. But I don't know. It's kind of motivating, to be honest.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't know. And like you see, most of the show I feel like is filmed here in West Hollywood. So I see the Design District Center in the shot, or they shoot at Runyon Canyon, Earth Cafe.
Yep.
I don't know. I kind of like I don't immerse myself really in that culture, but I like the option of tapping into it if I want to.
Yeah.
And I kind of like living in it.
Yeah.
I will say if I've had a bad week at work, I'm like, fuck this place.
Yeah.
Not work, but fuck,
LA.
Like living right here, because that's the good thing about where I live versus work is like, TMZ I guess used to be in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I do like.
It was actually it was across from the Chateau Marmont. Like that's TMZ Live overlooked Chateau Marmont. Like it was right there by the Laugh Factory, above the CVS Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
That's where it was. And I can't imagine those days, because even like that was TMZ started 2005, which Entourage was started right around then too.
Yeah, TMZ is in Entourage, I think, like a few times.
Yeah. And we talked about it earlier, but that part doesn't get old. That where like people just randomly reference it or they talk about it. Like I'm listening to a podcast and someone just says it, and I'm like, wow, that's where I work. Yeah. They're just
at
like the people who I think are the biggest, wildest, most talented people are name dropping us, and it's like, oh, crazy. Like he created something that's something to talk about, or a reference.
Yeah. How do you feel about people name dropping?
Just in the city, like living in LA.
Just what are your thoughts on it? Because
you took me to a party. You took me to a party, which I could talk about that party.
Which party?
The party, Sal's party.
Oh yeah,
there were name drops left and right there, and I was asking for it. I was like, no way. And I knew in my head, like, man, this person is like loving it. I'm into this.
Yeah.
And they were name dropping like crazy. I do think people know that name dropping is a thing where people are careful about it, and if they are name dropping, they're too far gone, and they like must need it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I feel like I do name drop sometimes, but I really have no intent of, it's not coming from a place of bragging. I'm just telling a story.
Yeah.
And I've gotten recently to a place where like I'm gonna own the fact that like I've done some cool shit with cool people.
Yeah, you have.
And like, I feel like you can kind of read through it, the people that are just shooting smoke.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's like, and there can be like that person's actually excited that they had that interaction with Adam Sandler or something like that. Like that person, if I had an interaction with Adam Sandler where like him and I chatted outside of a steakhouse or something, I would tell everyone, because that is so awesome.
Yeah.
Not because it's like, oh yeah, me and Adam, like we're tight.
Yeah.
Because that's the difference, is like you can see someone's personality in that, like, dude, this is true. I met Bo Burnham, and I'm like, because for me that is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a dude that I admire so much, and I've followed over the years. But yeah, I don't know. Name dropping. If you have to name drop, that must mean you're not interesting. But if you're doing it out of like showing your personality of like, oh, look what I've done.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a difference.
Yeah, I feel like when you're talking to people or friends who are not in the industry, it's received better and more organically than if you're talking with someone. I've had many experiences where I'm talking to other people who work in the entertainment industry, and it's like they're trying to one up, or they don't believe you, or I don't know. It's kind of something I've been thinking about a lot lately.
Yeah, and like that's the hard part about the networking side of like because there are some people at the party that you go to that you put yourself out there. Some people who are there and they must get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not there to relax and meet people and have a couple drinks. They're there because they need to meet someone who can help them.
Yeah.
And that's been me before, and
Yeah.
that's definitely a thing. But like, I don't know, that's the hard part is like, when do you know if someone's getting to know you or if it's a networking thing? Because sometimes like we're standing in a group. I've been in like groups of circles where it's like, oh, what does everyone do? And someone's like, I'm a computer analyst, or I work in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I work in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I work in marketing. Everyone works in marketing, dude. And then it's like, what do you do? It's like, I work in television.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I work in television. And then if it's like, oh, it's TMZ, there's always like
Yes.
but then there's sometimes a no, whatever.
Yeah. I've had to learn to not say, I work at TMZ, or
Because I don't mean it as a brag. But it's also like, dude, that's where I work.
exactly. No, exactly. It's a fine line trying to figure that out. Because I've had several experiences here where I've been used, and I'm no longer friends with those people.
Right.
And so you got to learn, and I would say trust your gut.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just hard though, like, because that's the hard part about like getting to know someone or hanging out with someone is like, oh man, do they want something from me, or do they want to be just a bud? They want someone to have a drink with, watch the game with, go to trivia with.
Yeah.
It's hard to find in the city.
Yeah, and I would say that's probably the biggest drawback here versus New York, is gauging people's authenticity.
Wow.
I've really struggled with that.
Yeah. Me too.
But
but it's also, you've overestimated probably some people too, where you're like, oh, I bet they're this way. Then you get to know them, you're like, dang, I should have given you a better chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
It goes every way.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It's wild. But what else?
Should we? I mean, you brought up Sal. So Sal, I can give a
Sal's like your mentor, right?
Sal is, I would say he was like a mentor to me. I would consider
That's cool.
him.
When you dropped mentor to me, I was like, okay, man. All right, you got a mentor. I mean,
yeah.
You got someone in your ear, or you got someone you're chasing or whatever.
Yeah, so I was working on Pitch Perfect 3.
Nice.
In Atlanta at Tyler Perry Studios. Yeah, my girl Haley Steinfeld.
My girl, I just said.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Love her.
And I was an office PA, which I would recommend to anyone. That's like what we said earlier. That's really where you can soak up and see everything. And so him and I established a working relationship, and because I was delivering all the packages to him, he's a very sought after, accomplished wardrobe costume designer.
Amazing.
And long story short, he was like, you keep bitching about Atlanta and how you want to move to LA. Why don't you come work on the Mindy project with me?
Mindy Kaling.
And I had zero interest in doing wardrobe. But yeah, that's how I got out here.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then you were in entertainment news before TMZ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Mindy was on the NBC lot, and
Great lot.
I
That's where I was when COVID all went down. That day that everything was shut down, I was at Universal.
Yeah, that place is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, I got on LinkedIn and I messaged someone, and they responded, and then I ended up at E News.
Yeah, you message someone. That's good too. That's another good piece of advice.
Mm-hmm. It's like what you were saying, one of those 50.
Yeah, just one. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I emailed one guy because I was asking him for work, but I was also asking him for advice, and that was maybe a tactic I was trying to let me butter them up by, I want to seek counsel from you because you're so wise. But one guy, he told me, he's like, dude, you know what this industry is you're just waving your arms until someone notices you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and that happens until you retire.
Yep.
Because and I heard someone say that everyone is someone's PA.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, that's preaching right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see our top bosses have a network that they answer to, and then the network has shareholders they answer to, and everyone has someone they answer to,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I would say wave your arms, but don't do it in a tacky way.
Yeah,
You
got to be cool.
You got to be cool.
Got to be
cool, confident, calm.
I always said, yeah, because I think there are thousands of people that can do your job, but are you a good person to work with?
Yeah.
Are you reliable? Are you, light? Is it easy?
Yeah. What sets you apart? What are you bringing that's different?
Having you around. Yeah, that's crazy.
But it's tough. Do you ever go through waves of wanting to venture out of entertainment, or you think you're sticking around?
Yeah, I think I'm sticking around. I think I'm sticking around because I do love sports. I love the fact that I could be watching something and then I could be talking about it at work the next day for work. Mm-hmm. And I think that is really fulfilling. That feels really good because not a lot of people have that. They're oh, I'm a engineer during the day, then at home I'm obsessed with Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I get to watch Star Wars and then talk about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know, it's a cool thing. And I don't get every single side of it, but I think where we work is one of the leaders in storytelling.
For sure.
And they have their own way of telling things, and it is not polished always. But it is always something if you ever go to a party, someone's talking about something that was happening at work, and we were all deciding on what to use to whatever, and to me that is so sick. And I feel that maybe with sports, but it would still be entertainment. To me, ESPN is the same thing as what we do. Jimmy Kimmel's the same thing. It's all in the
medium. It's just different bubbles.
And I think I do love that it's new every day. I ultimately came from I saw a bunch of movies and I saw a bunch of YouTube channels, and I was like, holy cow, you can get your name on that somehow. I know someone who worked on La La Land, and she was a soundtrack coordinator on it. And I was like, what? That's a girl I grew up with, and a movie that was one of my favorite movies of the year that was the most talked about movie, and she has her name's on it. I could see her name, but she's someone I grew up with. Anyone can go move there and do that. And she worked so hard before that, and worked so hard in college, and she killed it and went on to do all A Star Is Born and Black Panther, and she's just awesome.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I'm like, oh dang, she always thought though, I want to be a soundtrack person. I always want to be a sound. She said that in college. She asked her professor hey, how do I become a soundtrack person? And it's that's so specific, but that's such a great thing to chase because then she got it. And so then I came out here and I was like, I got to figure out what I want to do. Daily television is kind of what I landed on with whether it's a talk show, which that's what we do now, or I don't know, something that's daily. I love daily radio. I like podcasts. I love all that stuff. And so I don't know, because all that stuff's meant a lot to me. So now, yeah, just learning to storytell. And there's so many different mediums, dude. Even trying to tickle people's nostalgia and say, remember this person from the Flintstones, and
Remember them?
Viva Rock Vegas or
Do you ever
Malcolm in the Middle.
Do you ever feel like?
Plastic bag.
Do you ever feel if someone? How do you feel if you see someone doing better than you? Do you think it's a timing thing? Are you mad? Are you happy for them? Are you do you become introspective? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Where you like, am I doing something wrong? What can I,
A little bit. Like I think I now feel like being 29. I'm very aware of people's ages now. I'm like, wait, you're how old and you're doing that? And before I never was like that. Maybe because I was that like 20-year-old who was working full time or whatever, and it's like I was off to an early start. But now I am aware of like, oh my gosh, like Patrick Mahomes is years younger than me.
Yeah,
he's a Super Bowl 3-time Super Bowl champ. Like that's what have I like? I definitely think like that. And that as obviously I'm not a football player anymore, but yeah, I'm aware of that. But I think personally, I just feel so in my own lane that I'm like, there's no one really that I'm competing. There are people above me that I'm like, I want to be them in 5 to 10 years. But yeah, like, what did Matthew McConaughey say in his speech at the Oscars? He said something like, he's like, my hero is
this
me.
year?
No, it was like years ago when he won. He said something like, my hero is who I'm going to be in 10 years. That's my hero. And I'm going to chase him because like, and it's with yourself. And I feel that in a way that like, because I've been on like so many different jobs, and I guess now I've been in so many different departments, even at work, that like so many different teams, there's never anyone that I'm like, oh man, they got that and I didn't. Because even if I did ever feel that, the thing I ended up with was great and was what I needed anyway. So
yeah, I would say like,
what about for you? Are you looking around? I mean,
I used to not be like that. But for whatever reason, like I feel like once I turned 30 and then 31, I feel like the timeline or like in 5 years has seeped in more. So I'm working on that because it's hard, man. This industry is tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Yeah, and I definitely think I've definitely thought like, oh man, how much money should I be making, or how much like where should I be at? Should I be further along now? I heard someone who they recently quit their job, and they said, I'm quitting now because I'm still young enough to start over. And I was like, huh.
See that, and I think about that. I'm
that
like,
is because if you were like, dude, I want to be a real estate agent. Could you stop and start that tomorrow and be successful? Yeah, I probably could.
Yeah. Should I move back to Atlanta? Should I be by my family? Should I get a marketing job or a sales job?
Yeah.
I would be lying if I said I don't think about that.
I think you should. I mean, especially if like you're in a place where you're not. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. If you're not satisfied, you should think like, what would satisfy me? What would be a thing that make me go like, make me proud, make me excited, make me whatever. And yeah, and I think that's just what we're all chasing. Yeah, because it's hard to find. Sure. And then when we're all out here without our families, without our best friends.
It's tough.
And like, it's expensive and it beats you down. But yeah, I think you going on your hikes and looking at the Hollywood, like I think that is so like real. Because sometimes like on that drive like out of work where you like go past the LA Fitness and you kind of go up the ramp a little bit, you can kind of see everything for a second there. Like we're a little bit up on a hill, and I see that sometimes and I go, wow, dude, look where you are. Yeah. Look where you are.
It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
And I think especially being in a big city, you can feel the chaos and you can get lost in it.
Yeah.
So literally if you switch up your perspective, go on a hike.
Literally.
You know, get out of the shit.
Go,
Smoke a little bleezy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, listen, everyone's got their thing they got to do, you know?
Yep.
Go dance the night away at some of these places here in West Hollywood. that are open till 4 a.m., which that's a West Hollywood story. Like, I don't know if you have any good West Hollywood stories.
I thought they closed at 2.
Well, before the pandemic, Mickey's was I think it's now actually still open. The only place open till 4. And we went one night, and always the move is you go to Mickey's at midnight, because at about 1:30, all the other places are closing, and everyone's like, let's go to Mickey's, hurry. And then the line gets too long. So you get there at about midnight, and you wait it out, and you're there for the full crowd, and you're there till 4 a.m. I got a job at 3:30 a.m. at Mickey's from someone who I thought was a security guard. I've told that story on the DBA.
Yep.
Yeah. But that got me onto World of Dance. I worked with Jennifer Lopez because of that night. That's like, how like those are like, no matter what I leave with, I will leave with so many good stories.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And that's why I like doing this stuff too, because it helps me remember it. Like me and my buddy, we did an audio recording of us in line at SNL. Because we waited 24 hours. I now have that. That's on
insane.
It's audio only. And then him and I a few days later got together, and I was like, let's talk about exactly how it went and like break it down. And now I have that.
Mm-hmm.
That's mine.
I think that's important too. I think it's important to step back because this can be so challenging, and I think it's important to, remember all the fucking shit that you've been through, like getting a job at 3:30 in the morning.
Well, I will say too, and to remember this day, something I want to do more on the network is every time I record, stop and talk about what happened today, because today is March 23rd. It's Saturday. There's March Madness on.
Mm-hmm.
I already said that the other day with Richie, but March Madness is on, and we're going to a barbecue. It rained this morning.
Mm-hmm.
But it is starting to feel like summer here. It is starting to feel like summer. And I was just in Chicago where it was freezing cold. Mm-hmm. So all week I've been like, dude, it is so nice.
Yeah, you can definitely feel the shift in the weather change. The boygans are popping.
Boygans?
The boyganvilleas. I don't know how to say that flower, but
yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah. No, yeah. So yeah, on this day.
So yeah, I'm taking
But wait, at West Hollywood, do you have any good stories? I mean, you probably have plenty. Some not suitable for.
I got a lot, dude.
Yeah, you do.
I don't really go out over there.
Yeah.
I like the dive bars, but I've been.
Oh, dude, you introduced and you gave my mother a really great experience.
The Belmont.
Pause. Yes, the Belmont. One of your favorite spots in West Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. If people come to visit, where do you take them in West Hollywood? Someone comes to visit, because the Belmont is a place you told me to take my parents. We did that and went to the Largo because they're great comedy clubs. This is West Hollywood where all those are.
Yeah.
The Belmont, great bar. The Vanderpump people went there. We saw Rachel from The Bachelor there. My mom freaked out. She got to see a Bachelor again.
Mm-hmm.
What 3 places are you taking people?
Bars or just
anywhere? Like let's say your buddy's in town.
So for sure the Belmont. And then probably just walking up and down Melrose.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with this place called Happy Ice.
Happy Ice.
Happy Ice. It's the best Italian shaved ice, but it is unmatched.
Wow.
So I do like cheesy kiddie stuff like that.
Do you do any cheesy Hollywood stuff like do touristy stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, I took my parents
Bus
on the
tour.
TMZ tour. If I'm with someone that can hike, I'll take them.
Hiking, yeah.
I'll take them to Runyon.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. West Hollywood's great. Well, okay, so what if I'm in your hometown where your family is?
Atlanta.
Where, let's say, I come on vacation with you, or I come visit while you're there too, the same time. Where are we going out? Where are we going to dinner? You have any idea?
No clue.
No idea?
No clue, because I grew up in the burbs. And I
Nice.
always...
You can't claim it that much.
Yeah.
But I feel that way about Phoenix, too. I really couldn't tell you much about Phoenix or Scottsdale. I can tell you a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, dude,
Makes sense, actually.
I don't know.
So then that makes sense.
I always knew that I did not want to be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I tried. I tried to do it. So I really don't know.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's helpful.
Yeah.
What's it like going to a Georgia football game? Have you ever been?
I have been. It's crazy, dude. It's awesome.
Any SEC game is going to be crazy.
I will say I did not like being I would rather watch on TV almost. Like,
Yeah. Football is not as great in person.
yeah, like I'd rather like go watch like a hockey game.
Yeah. Basketball's fun too.
But yeah, the culture with SEC football and sports is.
Yeah. I want to go to like Gainesville, I think, or like Tennessee. Tennessee looks crazy. That orange looks crazy.
Yeah. Do you know about Georgia, Florida? How they go on the beach and everyone dresses up and gets crazy. Like, I never did any of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a totally different world.
It's like, yeah, because it's like, dude, that's all they have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's there.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, cool. Well, I think that's good, man.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about what we're gonna do today?
What are we gonna do today? You tell me.
So yeah, and then we can wrap it up. But ever since the war broke out,
In the Middle East.
Yes, in the Middle East. When was that? October.
Yeah.
Being Jewish, there is
you being Jewish.
Yes, I am Jewish. And
not that I am not a Jew, but
yeah. And I had never really been, I had a bar mitzvah, and I'd never really been interested in surrounding myself around other Jewish people for whatever reason. Anyways, the war broke out, and we somehow put together a group of Jewish people, and we started doing these monthly Shabbats. And I hosted last month. You were here.
What is a Shabbat? Real quick.
Shabbat. And
yes, I did go.
Forgive my lack of education. I did have a bar mitzvah, so I really am not.
Is there like a term for that? Like if you're like only kind of like you're Jewish, but you're like only you're casual Jewish.
Yeah, you can
like
be.
There was
you
a
can
phrase
be traditional, Reformed, Hasidic.
But like, you know what I mean? Like there are certain Christians that only come around for Christmas and Easter.
Yeah, so if we're going on that kind of scale, I would say that's how I am as a Jew.
Okay.
But growing up, I did celebrate like the high holidays. So yeah, we started doing these monthly Shabbats, and we've been able to.
Wait, what is the Shabbat? You didn't say.
Shabbat is a weekly Sabbath dinner. I like to compare it to like a Thanksgiving, but you're basically celebrating the end of the week. You're supposed to rest. You do some prayers. You light the candles, have the challah and the wine. And what's been really cool about us doing these monthly Shabbats is bringing people who do not celebrate, little touch of educating some people like myself.
Yeah.
And today we are doing Havdalah, which I do not know the purpose. I just know it's on Saturday, and I'm sure we're going to learn. We're headed to the east side.
East side. We're going to Highland Park area. Back kind of where I started. I started in Glendale. It's like Eagle Rock.
Yeah.
Kind of up there. Then we'll go out up there. Yeah, no, it was so cool. Like you hosted here, and I mean, we kind of get a good view of the space here on camera, but it's not a very big place. But you had about 20
There was like
people,
25, 30 people in this tiny apartment.
You worked so hard. You got tables, you got chairs, and you took many trips. And it's really hard. Like we've talked a lot in this episode about, a lot of how it's hard to meet people in LA, and it's hard. Like when was the last time, besides a Friendsgiving, which is what you compared it to?
Yeah.
Do you sit down at a table where you all made the food that's on the table, or you all contributed? Going to a restaurant, I think, is very special, very awesome thing to do. But to actually like be something that you all crafted and whatnot, and then you're in a room, with all these people who did. It's Friday. We all worked so hard, and whatever job kicked our butt all week, and like we just want to eat and celebrate and like be gluttonous and just. Yeah, relax.
Yeah.
And honestly, get the fuel so that we can go back to work and handle all that. So, and it was cool. And there were some people in the group who were just as casual as you, and there were some who were very well educated and could explain things. And yeah, it's definitely a like where I grew up, there weren't Jewish people. Mm-hmm. Like there were Mormon people. I always say that Mormons were our Jews. We're like the big religious group that like you see around is. And it's talked about is Mormons. Yeah. And so learning about Jewish culture, especially in the last 6 months, has been interesting.
Yeah, it's been a little scary for sure. but it's made me really be proud and grateful. And yeah, man, here we
What else
are.
can you ask for? That's cool,
We're
man.
gonna go do some Jewish shit.
Just getting to some Jewish stuff.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for hosting. I think this sounds good. It looks good. Lighting is fantastic. I'm happy with how this turned out.
Yeah, dude. I appreciate you having me on.
I just appreciate you in general, dude. So
Thanks, dude. Likewise.
grateful.
Likewise.
Well, thanks so much. If you liked Eric, leave a like. If you liked something about him, write it in the comments. If you liked this conversation, subscribe. Do all that stuff. We appreciate you. Leave a review on iTunes. Apparently that helps. Or Apple Podcasts. I called it iTunes. But see, iTunes.
You just aged yourself,
Apple
man.
Podcast. Go leave a 5-star review. Just write a quick sentence. Just be like, dude, I love rock and roll.
Yeah.
So put another dime in the DBN jukebox, baby. Or go on Spotify and do it, whatever. That helps.
Yeah, for sure. Show some love.
Show some love to not just us, to everyone around you. Thanks for being a part of history. We'll see you soon.